Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Our attention is on the administration and governance in the Federal Capital Territory, and also issues relating to the role of women in politics. A lot is happening in the FCT under the Nyesom Wike as the Minister of the FCT. And recently, there was an office created, the Women Affairs Secretariat of the Federal Capital Territory administration. And the president recently appointed the woman who served as the Grand Matron of the Hope Again for FCT Women in Politics as the Mandate Secretary. Benjamins-Laniyi joins me live here on the program tonight. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good to see women. I mean, rarely do I have women on my program, but when I have one and it's looking as shining as yours, we need to appreciate. Thank you so much.
Maybe you need to do more to up the numbers.
We are trying.
Your program.
We're trying. First and foremost, the issue of affirmative action. A lot of women are shying away from politics. And you know the kind of energy and intelligence women bring into things professionally, corporate-wise. You wonder why they shy away from politics, though.
Sherry, let me give you new optics. From my experience as a disruption in the political space in the FCT, there are a lot of women who do not shy away from politics. They're at the grassroots level. They're the women at the grassroots level who, it's the elite women who shy away. But the grassroots women, they own the roots of political dynamism when it comes to local activation for the political campaigns. It's the women who vote. It's the women who don't end up being voted for, but it's the women who do the legwork, the homework. We just have to do a lot more when it comes to the old boys network.
Yeah, so the thing is, we say, okay, agitation, I'm a he for she. I advocate for women. I've always looked forward to having more women. In fact, doing the affirmative action to have at least 35% of women guests on my program in a year is just to also align with the principle.
This is the 2nd of February. I will give you great opportunity going forward.
So the question is, yes, the agitation for women playing more role, and not only in terms of numbers, but also in terms of activity and in terms of impact. But again, is the fact that the quality of women in the fray, can we trust them? Women
what's
in
the
politics?
Quality of men in the fray that we end up trusting? You don't necessarily trust when it comes to political selection. It is what is thrust at you. This is the reality of politics. And with the men, it's not because we trust them, but because they have been thrust and we have come to accept. That's what it is. You're talking about women and the quality of this. It's about our intentionality. I found that a woman in the political process and space must be the first person to approve and prove herself. Not so much as a woman competing with the men, but a woman who completes the process as a woman with men, yes, dominating the field. But the opportunity for a woman, therefore, is to have a singular impact in that field. Many times, women are patronized to represent as mothers. You know, we give us, yes, I'm a mother personified. But I didn't run as a mother. I ran as a model for leadership. I ran as a model for affirmative audacity. And not because I was doing it from a position or place of activism, but the simple advocacy and understanding as I continue to scale through the exposure, the experience, and the intentionality that politics, truly, if you love people, it is the highest level of advocacy for humanity. If you love people and you are there with the heart to do it in purity. Now, you must also, as a woman or anyone in the political process, understand the reality of politics. It is transactional before it becomes a transformational model. That's why I say, as a woman, our resilience must come in the place of having a traction of being intentional as models of leadership for political purpose and pursuit.
And the worry is your political party. You couldn't get a ticket to the senatorial, you didn't win the senatorial election in the FCT. You wanted to be the senator representing the FCT. That didn't happen. But a woman is there
exactly
anyway, from the Labour Party.
Exactly.
So you are happy with that?
No. I'll tell you what I'm happy with. I'm happy with the fact that I was able to break, destroy, completely demystify the fact that a woman or anyone shouldn't have run because FCT belonged to one. And I was very clear. I remember, I've forgotten it was at NTA, he interviewed me and he said, but madam, aren't you afraid? How can you face and you're not afraid? I said, and why should I be afraid? In the first place, you don't run with fear. She who dares wins. You run because you dare. And if you're a woman running, just run, even if you're going to run afraid, run brave. And what I did tell him, however, is that it's time for a woman to win. I didn't just say that from some place of sentimental delusion. I said it because I sat with someone and we did the mathematics. And we realized that if the APC wanted to win in the FCT, it could not go head for head with the incumbent, with another man to that man. That the best thing to use would be the power of a woman with intentionality in the political place and process. She would have to be a woman who had an engagement where she was popular enough. She had reputational pedigree. She also had that drilled down, rooted space in the political space of North Central FCT capital city. She was also able to work with what should be the Christian demographic, the youth, the AMAC, where you have the highest number of youth-driven people, people in enterprise, people in media. Who else but Benjamins-Laniyi? I was right and I was ripe. However, politics is what it is. Now, you want to say that in your party it was negative. It's still my party that gave me my position today.
That was a question I will ask.
Yes.
Is your party just playing lip service about women in politics?
Do I look like lip service?
No, but I'm saying your party. You are a member of the party, but the structure of the party is one thing. What they profess is another thing. Whether or not they are walking the talk is another.
It's not just APC. From A to Z, any political proclivity has what they do with the lip in service and with the behind-the-scenes politics. Politics is BTS. Behind the scenes, you and I know, setting up the studio and everything you're putting together has what makes it look like it looks. And the truth is, where I say that perception is king, content is queen. And it is that content, ultimately, that becomes the political driver of the processes that you and I, through our altruism, let me use that, it's not a big English word, but I mean for some people, they'll say, she's come with this big, but it's true. We must be altruistic. You must still hold the highest ideals at the highest level of your idyllic projection. Whatever you're doing, whether an entrepreneur, whether you bake cakes, or you arrange flowers, or you are playing football tonight, and you want to make... We've got ideals, we are driving for it, and you know, the goals we want to score have to be goals that we predetermine by our courage of conviction in running with whatever it is. So yes, I went into APC because the ruling party rules. Now, that the ruling party can fail in a time of certain political expectations, and of course, when it comes to the popular word when you're doing campaigns, it's permutations of campaigns, elections, and selections of candidates. In the final processes, you end up with who you are shocked to find out emerges. But the reality is this: everything BTS politics has brought you to that point. Now, what you do, and this is what I had to say when I was invited, privileged, to the United Nations General Assembly by UNDP Africa to speak as a woman in politics who had failed. And I said, how did I fail? First and foremost, let every woman understand, if you ran, you're a trophy, you are not a stigma. Many people don't realize that when you go through politics and lose an election, you go through the 4 stages of grief. You actually grieve. You don't just bleed, you grieve. Is you lost something. Something living, pulsating, alive left you. And if you were sincerely, truly in it, then you are going to grieve to come through it. Many times people don't want to grieve through that process. And I tell women, grieve through it, but don't leave the room. Don't give your space away.
Let me take you up on the Women's Affairs Secretariat of the FCT.
Yes.
A lot is going on. The battle to chase away the bandits and those who are abductors and secure. The minister is talking tough and say, look, we'll give them fire for fire. That is what we want against these terrible human beings who are taking people by force and collecting money from their families. But the question is, Women Affairs Secretaries, what is it about it for the women in the FCT?
I will start with what His Excellency, the Honorable Minister, stated the day that I was sworn in 101 days ago on the 24th of October, 2023. He said, women are a project, and we need a women's secretariat to direct the project of hope, renewed hope for women. He wasn't just talking politics and dialectics. He understood that with Her Excellency, the First Lady's project on the Renewed Hope Initiative, Her Excellency, the distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, she also needed a platform with which in the FCT, not through the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, but through the instrumentality of the administration of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, be able to reach 62 wards, 6 area councils, and all of the demographic of women, adolescent girls, with those with disabilities, those in vulnerable spaces, and begin to drive impact through the advocacy of renewed hope projects. Now, when His Excellency Nyesom Wike set this up, he was very clear that he wanted something innovative, he wanted something that would be agile, something that would be dynamic, but still at the same time would reach the people, women as indigent and non-indigent. And they would need a bridge. They will need somebody who, in speaking the language, is not speaking the language of Gwari, Gwagolada, no. The language of an administration that has truly come to demonstrate the political will, not just to care, but to serve the hope of the people.
Those will be asking the question, what has the FCT done for the FCT women?
What has the FCT done for the FCT women? I have given them a secretariat that is now doing. Let me tell you something. As I came in, 24th, I hit the ground running because I was hit by the 16 days activism of the United Nations to unite, to invest against gender-based violence all across the world with our orange color. The Honorable, the distinguished senator of the FCT, Reti King-Wige, has set up an Orange the World walkathon, and she was deliberate about aligning all of the different varied activities of women within that 16-day reference from the Women Affairs Ministry to NGOs, women groups, everyone come together and let's work together. And what I loved about it is that it served an answer, or how do I put it? It served a repositioning of a narrative that women don't work with women. Women worked together to work together to bring the message of the 16 days activism. But what we did uniquely in the FCT, yes, we did that as a show of unity, because that is what Abuja is. The face of Nigeria is here. The message of Nigeria to the world is here in the capital city. And therefore, what we're able now to do was to trigger what became an advocacy. For us, we now went to the 6 area councils, to the 17 chiefdoms, beginning in Abaji with the honor of Abaji and his wife, the royal matriarch, Her Royal Highness Hawa, and we were able to get them first. His Royal Highness as the principal gatekeeper, paramount ruler of Nigeria, to take socio-cultural patriarchy and bring it to a place of speaking for not just women and the girl child, but for the administration that has come to bring what they had never in the history of FCT experienced before, an administration that had come to touch them where they needed it.
Are you giving them anything? Because these are hard and tough times
too. Of course we are giving them.
In
the first place, in terms of the full mandate-ship, education, we're already reworking and restructuring the schools. The other day, I wish I had given you that, just on Tuesday, I went 2 hours to a village after Rubochi called Kulo. In that village, there's an old groundnut kuli mill, rice mill, that had been set up, hear this, by the legacy of Her Excellency, the late Mariam Babangida, is still there. For 15 years, the security guard without pay has kept the key, has preserved, and that place has not been vandalized. We went there. Now, what we're doing is we're taking, just like Mr. Project, our FCT minister is doing, taking projects that are moribund and now reviving them, resuscitating them, going to the people. The district head rule, literally he was in tears. He couldn't believe it. I went there, I didn't have much. You know, you don't need much to make people realize you are truly sincere about connecting them to hope. Hope is not a big bucket. Hope is just a cup of water that refreshes a soul that has given up. They had given up. The transformer 12 years down because a tree in a storm fell and affected something. Now we're able to go there. I said, put it together. I have a minister of state. She's going to come here. What I am is a road runner. I go to the places, I meet them. Now, hear this. When I spoke with some of the team in my secretariat, and I asked, when last were you here? Because I'm doing a review right now. It's not like we're fully served, it's 100 days, but I am accountable. So if you invite me, I am here because you want to know what is really going on. I must be able to say, this is our startup.
Let's wrap up in 30 seconds. And this is a commitment that I like to you, I mean, the people who are watching. Women, when we talk about women, people think the mothers and old women. We're talking about girls inclusive. In 30 seconds, can you tell the people of the FCT what they should be expecting as a women's secretariat that's been set up? What are the practical, tangible things they should be expecting?
Well, first and foremost, there's infrastructural review. For the adolescent girl, our Minister Wike gave them a day of the adolescent girl child. We bring focus to them as a celebration and an affirmation that they are the most vulnerable, but yet the most valuable demographic in the trajectory of women and children. And we are giving the women with disability in the FCT. Look, we came on the radar of data capture and reportage, #1 in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, from a position of apathy with our FCT Response GBV team. It had not happened in the history before now. Before then, everything was sort of just left at a state of whatever. But we're able to read, I won't say the Riot Act, but the Abuja Act of Mr. Project. And everyone, yesterday, I was with international partners, I was with the press, they were asking the questions. If in 100 days, I can take a moribund result of 1,000 reports to 3,745 thereabouts, almost 4,000, and we have some that we just haven't been able due to a challenge with certain capture in terms of technology, but we're working on it. We have like 5,000 in waiting. So honestly, within this next 2 months, we should be able to almost hit 10,000. And what we're simply saying is that it's time. Women of FCT, shine your shine.
It's good
this
to see
is our color, yellow.
It's good to see you bright and shining.
Yes.
Dayo Benjamins-Laniyi is the mandate secretary of the new Secretariat of Women Affairs Secretariat
Can I say one last thing? So for the men, trust the men. They say, all this women thing. We men too. I said, you're right, and I'm happy you put it as two. So let me handle the women first, and women too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's our show for tonight. Many thanks for coming on tonight. Welcome.